Have you ever used sponsored content to monetize your travel blog? If not, then you're in the right place because in this video, I'm going to tell you all about sponsored content, how to use it, how to maximize it, and how to find them. My name is Kerwin and I'm with Travel Blogger 101. And welcome to Maximizing Revenue with Sponsored Content for Travel Creators. I'm going to show you how to collaborate with brands, create value, and earn, most importantly. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to cover what is sponsored content, in case you don't know, why sponsored content works for travel creators, the types of sponsored content, how to find sponsors, how to pitch to brands for sponsored content, and you need to stay tuned because I'm going to use some AI and do some very cool stuff. Best practices for sponsored content disclosure guidelines. This doesn't apply for every country, but it does in the United States. So if you're in the United States or you're based in the United States, you need to make sure you adhere to these guidelines. Measuring success for sponsored content, example for sponsored blog posts or just sponsored content in general, and action steps to get started with sponsored content. So let's go. So what is sponsored content? Sponsored content involves partnering with brands to create content, blog posts, social media posts, videos, etc., around their product or service in exchange for compensation. And this is a very, very broad definition, but basically, if you approach a brand and they say, hey, can you post this for me on your website? I'll give you $100, and you say yes, that is sponsored content, just in the easiest definition. So as examples again, a hotel brand sponsored you to create a YouTube vlog showcasing their property. A travel gear company paid you to feature their backpack in a blog post. What is sponsored content? So here's an example. This is from a blog online. Her name is Momtrotter, and she went to Ireland with her son, and she got this RV, and she's showcasing the RV. So she posted a little video on her social media, this is Instagram, and she talked about the RV, talked about how much it costs. She gave you an actual physical walkthrough with her and her son. So that's an example of a sponsored content. This is another blogger. Her name is Falumi Newby. She's a lady that did Lagos to London by car, and she had a little Peugeot, and now Peugeot is sponsoring her with an electric car, and we don't know where she's going yet, but this is another example of a sponsored content that's out there. Here's another one where this lady, JennonaJetPlane, she partnered with Visit Wisconsin, and she went to Madison, and then she wrote a blog post, and she also, and then it's at the bottom, which we're going to talk about, right? It says, this post was sponsored by Destination Madison. All opinions are my own. So that means she's getting paid by Destination Madison to write this post. So it gives you an idea of some little examples out there. Now, why sponsored content works for travel creators? Well, this whole channel is dedicated to monetization. And so it's income diversification, right? Diversification is just another way to make money with your blog. So sponsored content provides a revenue stream outside of digital products or ad revenue or YouTube monetization or any other different ways that you use to monetize your blog, which by the way, this channel has all that information. Just look through these videos on all the different categories. It adds value to your audience. It introduces your audience to relevant products and services. Oftentimes, you want to give your audience a little more taste of something, and so this will give you extra content if you don't have it. It increases your influence. Partnering with reputable brands can elevate your authority in the travel industry most of the times. So, as an example, a travel creator partners a luggage company to review new product line. The sponsored post provides valuable insight for followers interested in quality travel gear. So let's talk about some types of sponsored content. You can do a blog post, so which would be a review. You write a detailed review of a product or service that you did. And a product or service could be anything, right? It could be an airline flight, in business class or economy class, could be an airport experience. Maybe an airport is, they've created new things in the airport and I want you to check it out and tell people about it. You could also do a tutorial. You could say how to pack light for a month of travel because you're showcasing some new packing cubes or something like that, and it's sponsored by the brand who makes packing cubes. You can do a listicles. These are the ones that you see a lot, the 10 best gadgets for digital nomad, or the 10 best backpacks to use, or 10 best things to do in a particular place. You will see these a lot. In social media, you will see Instagram posts and stories. So if people showcasing the product in action with engaging visuals and a detailed caption, like I just saw this morning, one of the bloggers, she's talking about Grab in Southeast Asia, which is Grab is not the same as a Grab that's in the US, but it's like Uber. And they do you just, it's just like Uber. You call up the information on your phone or whatever device you're using. Reels and TikToks, create a short, fun, or education video showing the benefits of the product. And you see this a lot on TikTok. Giveaways, run a sponsor giveaway where users follow the brand and you're count for a chance to win a product. Just have to make sure that whenever you do these giveaways, you're abiding to whatever the giveaway rules is for the particular country that you're in. YouTube videos, you can do product unboxing. Create a video where you unbox and review whatever product it is. You can do vlogs, integrate the product into your travel blog, naturally showing how to use it in real life situations. Dedicated reviews, make a video specifically reviewing the product and its benefits. Podcasts. You can do a sponsorship shout out in a podcast. We haven't talked about podcasts as a way of monetizing it, but that's going to be a category later down the road where you can include brand mention in the intro or mid-roll of your podcast episode. Typically, you'll hear people, they'll be doing a podcast and then something comes in and it says, this podcast is brought to you by so and so, or it just, they just start to advertise a product at the beginning, the end, or the middle, or someplace like that. So it just depends on the agreement that you have with the brand to do it in your podcast. You can do an interview with a brand representative. This is where you bring somebody in and they come in, you interview them on your show, and they talk about the product while it's on the show. So there are lots of different ways that you can do it. You can do a newsletter, you can do sponsored emails. This is where you can include a sponsored mention in your travel newsletter. So you can just put a blurb, or you can do an entire email that's just dedicated to this particular item or this particular brand that you're going to be doing. Those do better because you don't have people clicking on all kinds of different things. Because it's interesting when you send out a newsletter, you can see all the stuff that people click on. And sometimes I'm like, I didn't even remember that link. And then I go, oh, I do have that link in there. And sometimes it shows that the link is incorrect, which I oftentimes need to go back and fix. So how do you find sponsors? Because this is always the thing that gets people. Now, the best way to do it is to contact them directly. Now, the industry is very, very weird. I spoke about this in another one of the videos where the PR companies are really who controls it all. And so each of the brands, they will hire a PR company to handle their outreach. And so for you to get to, let's say, do something with the Jamaica Tourism Board, you have to go through the PR company, which I think is Finn and Partners, that handle the Jamaica Tourism Board, and they're in New York. And some PR companies are better than others. And so, you have to bear that in mind. So although I know people at the Jamaica Tourist Board, whenever I talk to them, I need to go through Finn and Partners, which is just another hurdle that sits between. Now, sometimes some brands are really good and they can say, look, yeah, I want to work with you, let's do it. And you don't have to go through the PR company because sometimes it's just really annoying to do that. How do you find these brands? You go to conferences, and I'm going to do a whole piece on conferences. There's like World Travel Market coming up in November, at the beginning of November in London. I think it's like the 5th to the 7th in London. And I spoke about this where it's a room, it's a room, but it's a really big room. It's the Excel Conference Center in London. And it's like walking into the entire world in one big room because it really is big. And so you go and you can make appointments beforehand to meet with brands, or you can just go and say hello, drop a card, speak to them, and then you can talk to them later. Um, you can email, do some cold calling if you have email addresses, or you can do it via LinkedIn. A lot of the brands are on LinkedIn. Some of these brands are weird on LinkedIn though, because you'll send them a message and they won't respond. It happens, right? You can ask other creators. That's a really good way. But sometimes creators, you ask them something and they don't want to tell you. So they, hey, who are you working with? Oh, I don't know. Or I can't tell you, or something like that. They don't really divulge that information a lot. But when you go to travel conferences, and or that's another way. If you go to travel conferences, you get to meet these people. You sit down with them. They have like one-on-one sessions that you can set up with these folks, and then you can get to talk to them. So that works really well. You can find them on Instagram. So you can see the brands promoting things on Instagram. You can put a pop a DM and say, hi, my name is so and so. I want to see if you work with content creators. I sent a note in for Gillette and because they had some shaving thing, and I have very sensitive skin. And so I wanted to get one of their Gillette products. And I said, hey, can I, I'd like to work with you. And I put some more information in there. And I sent them a video. Um, I think they sent to me one of their products and I tried it and I sent them a video about it. And then they said, no, I guess I'm not who they're looking for. But then when you look at the people that they have, everyone is like, a football player or somebody really, really famous. So I'm not famous, so I didn't really stand a chance of working with Gillette. On although their brand really do work and I really do use it. And this is not an endorsement of Gillette because I'm not working with Gillette on this one. You can go to X, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and you can find the brands on there. And sometimes they'll even say, hey, we're looking for so and so. Do you know anyone? And so you can actually reply directly to them because sometimes they do come out and say, here's what we're looking for. And then they'll tell you what they're looking for and make sure you follow the creative brief, which is what they call it, which is really what they're asking for, what they're asking you to do and what they're asking you for. And I actually don't think I'm recording this. Oh yes, I am recording it, so that's good. Okay, that's good. Because for a moment I thought I wasn't recording whatever I'm doing here. So I just had to check and make sure. Okay, so we talked about Instagram, X, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can see they do come out and say, here's what we want. Or you can actually find the people that you need to speak to on there. And you can also use an online portal. Uh, this is it works, but it's usually the crumbs that you get when you go to the online portal. Because when you look at some of the offers, you're like, they offer you little or nothing, and they want a lot of work from you. And you're like, well, you're not really offering me anything. Why are you why are you why are you asking me to do so much? But it's a way to get in with the brand. And if the brand likes you, then maybe you'll get a little more, work or something like that. Now here's some of the brands that have portals. It's not an exhaustive list. And of course there's always some that people won't tell you about. Because what you find is it's a lot of hoarding. Now there's also companies that you can pay to go find you deals, and then they become your agents. That's another way to do it. I tried working with a new company that was starting up in London, and they didn't really work out, and so I didn't get any deals from them. But in the industry, you try different things with different people. Some things will work, some things just not going to work. And some people are more successful with doing things. So you try to find what works for you, and when you find something that works, you do more of it. When you find something that doesn't work, you just stop doing it and move on. I recognize that doing these online things don't work. Getting an agent doesn't work, and so I didn't bother doing them. Although I am members of some of these, I never know and again I get like I got there's one that's called it's called Kit, but it used to be called Media Kitty, I think. I actually got an assignment out of Media Kitty, which was really good as an assignment to Barbados. And so sometimes some of these work out. And then what that did, that gave me the PR contact for Barbados. And now I get in touch with them and they send me things all the time and says, hey, here's a list of stuff that we have. And if you like it, then send me a proposal. And then, I'll get you in touch with the person to move forward. So we have like Activate, Aspire IQ for IZEA, Join Brands, FameBit, and Influence.co. I'm going to show you each of these to get an idea. And you also have the URL, and I'm going to include the URL into the description part of this video so you can see it below. So this is Blog Lovin', and another one is Aspire. And there's Four, and Four is actually one of the better ones out there. I think that's how it's pronounced. There's IZEA, and I've seen some stuff in IZEA. I think I might have gotten one or two assignments from IZEA, but like I said, you'll find out what works and what doesn't work. This is a new one called Journ. I like Journ. The only thing is that Journ is the one where if you're going to a city, you say, hey, what do you have in that city? They show you some stuff, and then you kind of apply, and then it comes back. My problem is that I don't know when I'm going to cities. I'm very last minute, and this one doesn't really lend itself to last minute. Join Brands is another one. And there's FameBit Media. There's Influence.co. Now, how to pitch your brands with sponsored content, right? Because this is always a scary piece. First, of course, you have to identify the right brand. Focus on a brand that aligns with your content and your audience. So what I do, excuse me, is I try to survey my audience, find out what is it that they like, what is it that they do, what are some of the brands that they use. And so if I find that, the audience, like let's say my audience, they prefer Marriott's over Hilton's, then I want to go work with Marriott rather than Hilton because they don't like Hilton's or it's not their favorite brand. And so you will ask your audience what they end up doing. And then you figure out if they do if you're doing an outdoorsy blog and you find out that, well, they like REI products as opposed to Eagle Creek, then you go try to make a deal with REI. And you can say, hey, I've surveyed my brand and they prefer your products, and these are some of the products that they like. Would you like to, can we set something up and we start talk about working together to promote this new backpack you just launched or something like that? Now, in terms of payment, which I don't think I talked about payment here, but you can work out whatever payment. Oftentimes they'll just give you the product and expect you to review it, and then you can get payment in terms of uh what do you call it now? Affiliate. So, if you show if let's say, five people click on it and four people buy or three people buy, then you will get a percentage of whatever it is that you made. These deals are good, but they're crap because you're taking the time to create a campaign for this particular brand. This is what you're doing. So you need a little more than just affiliate commissions. So you want to, work that into however you plan on getting paid. Sometimes the brands will just pay you a flat rate and say, we're going to give you $100 if you write about this and post this blog post. Sometimes they'll even create a blog post for you because what they're looking for from you is SEO, search engine optimization, and all they want is what's called a backlink. And then they will prepare the content for you, and then you just post it on your website and you get paid for it. Some people do that. I don't do that, but some people do that. Okay. One of the things that you should do is create a media kit. And a media kit showcases your audience reach, social media stats, past collaboration, engagement rates. Now, you can do a media kit from different types of, I guess, companies. One of them that does a free one is Canva. So, many people have a Canva account. You can go to Canva and you can create a media kit. one of the companies is also Beacon. And if you use my link, I'm going to leave the link in the bottom. You will get $20 in Beacon credit. When they started out, this was actually a free service, but everything starts out free, and then you end up paying in the long run. How do you find my? So this is where this link will take you, and then you put your username that's in, and then you can get the credit when you sign up, or you can if you already have an account, you just sign in. Now, what I wanted to show you was what my actual media kit looks like. I'm not logged in, so I'm going to go to Instagram. And because in Instagram, it creates there's one of those like the LinkedIn bio things. And so here's my LinkedIn bio, and I want to go to my beacon. And this is not the media kit, but this is the link in bio. And the link in bio shows you all the different items that you're promoting. And I'm promoting way too many things in here. However, though, one of these is my media kit. And so when you go here, it shows you what the media kit is. And I've connected this to my social media accounts. And I think the red ones, it tells you the data is not up to date, so it just needs to be resynced. But it tells you I have 9.5 thousand on X, 5.2 on Instagram, on YouTube, 5.2 on Instagram, coincidental. And then it tells you what the TikTok is, and also tells you what the Facebook is. And then it gives you a total. Then you can add all the different brands that you've worked with. So these are all the different brands that I've worked with. Um, and sometimes the places that I visited, because um, the Faroe Islands was not really a partner, so I actually need to remove that. I'm not sure why that one is in there. But all the other ones are actually brands that I've worked with. The Faroe Islands is odd. I went to the Faroe Islands on my own because you probably wonder, well, how do I make money off my blog? I do stuff on my own because sometimes when you go with these brands, uh, they they want a lot from you and they don't really want to pay for it. And so what I will do is that I'll pay for my trip. I'll go on my trip myself, and then I have the content. So I can distribute the content on my own platforms and do whatever I want with it whenever I need to do it. And I find that's just more control for me anyway. So I need to remove the Fire Islands because we didn't partner. I'm glad I'm actually going to do this. And so when you go down here, it gives you even further information. It tells you, okay, so this is the number of followers that you have. This is your engagement rates. This is the average likes that you get. And as you can see, I'm terrible at Instagram. I don't really do anything much with Instagram. But then it goes through and it gives you the demographics of the people who are on your things. So this is a brand that's trying to work with you. They can see, oh, most of my people come from the United States, and most of them actually come from New York. And you can go through here and you can see this information in here. Then it shows like the last 5 posts that I've been doing. Now, um, airplanes is what I love. And what I found is on Instagram, I've tried posting all different types of stuff. And I'm going back to my roots. So now my entire stream is just going to be airplanes landing and takeoff because that's what my audience likes and that's what I want to do. And so you can see this gives you a good idea of what the Beacon Media Kit looks like. And I really need to bugging me now. We need to go in and fix that. I don't know why I got that in there. Uh, but it's very easy to do. And if you want to say, somebody want to collaborate with you, you have them fill out this form and then it sends you an email. So it's asking, well, what's your name? What's your brand name, your email, what's your budget, and what's the project details? Just get right to the point, no, going around the block. So that's why this kind of helps. Uh, okay, so that talks about the Beacon Media Kit. And I wanted to show you what some other folks have done. Uh, Let's see. I think I already have these pulled up, but I'll just put them up again. So this is Amateur Travel. This is Chris, Amateur Traveler, and his media kit is in the form of a PDF. And while that's loading, uh, Chris is a podcaster. And so he goes through and you can see how he fills this out. And he talks about who he is. 2023 had its challenges. A helpful content update from Google hit a lot of travel blogs hard. I lost 5% of my blog traffic, and he's made some changes. And so he is more going into the podcasting realm rather than I think the blogging realm. And so he talked about, he's been to Belize, Guatemala, and Malta, has new countries. And so you can put whatever you want in your thing. And so, you ask, well, what is amateur travel? So if you come in here and you're trying to figure out, should I work with Chris? And you can see all his information here. He's at 2.08 million podcast. I think this is download. It's up 20%. He's had the page views, and he also has California amateur travel. So he's just going through and he's telling you about him. This is where he's been mentioned. People have written about him. He talks about what he does and some testimonials that he's gotten from people. Then he shows, some podcast numbers so you can see what he has, like, his age groups and people and things like that. Who follows the amateur traveler, which is always good because you want them to have a good idea of who are the people that listens to Chris, because this is an audience that you as a brand will want to attract. And so Chris is making sure he gives you all that information that's out there. And of course, there's contact information with a phone number, and he tells you what he does. You can do podcast sponsorship, guest posts, content creation, fam trips, and fam trips are just press trips that we were talking about. So now we look at JennonaJetPlane, and so she comes through here and she says, she talks about herself on here, and um, so, it just shows you that there are different ways that you can doing it. So it tells, who she's talks about who she's worked with in the past, and she does, like and some of the work that she's done. So she worked at Airbnb. She got 12,000 plus link clicks from a single video. Visit Jordan, 1.3 million views, an article on their blog. And so she's basically telling you what is it that she does and how good she is, because there's a whole idea behind doing this. And she can take if you want to do private business coaching, she does that too. She has a travel training program that you can enroll in. And she talks about TikTok for business, blogging for business. Those are some of the sessions that she's done and she's spoken on. So this is really telling you, and she's also written a book. So this is telling you a lot about her. And and if you want to work with her, then this is the kind of stuff that you do. The other one is a Momtrotter, and a Momtrotter is the one that I showed you with her and her son in it's really her son, and her husband. And here she's just going through and telling you all the things that she does, who she is, the cruise, her and her for her family. And she talks about a lot of stuff on her blog. She does a lot on Instagram, and follow her journey and be a part of it. She's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. She told you where she's been featured before. And so you get a good idea. And she also has testimonials. And then she talks about her charity that she has. And there's a whole bunch of questions and answers that she has. And then she said, let's collaborate. And she gives you partnership opportunities if you want to work with her. She tells you who is it. There's all the brands and some of the brands that she's worked with. And then she just, you just go through, see the list. You can see that she's worked with a lot of brands. And then she gives you her number. She's got 1.8 million TikTokers, 506,000 Facebook, 320,000 Instagram, 92,000 YouTube, 3.6 on Pinterest, 1,200 on Twitter, and she has 79,000 people on her email subscriber. So here you can go in and actually this is another way for you to really spy on your competition because it's what's in the media kit and this is what's out there publicly. And then she tells you what she does, press shifts, sponsored posts, freelance writing, all the different things that she do. So you guys need to create a media kit, and at least now you have a good way of going through and deciding how to do your media kit. Okay. Now, how to pitch brands again, we're continuing this. You want to create a personalized pitch, adjust the brand's goal and how your content can help them, include ideas for collaborations, such as blog posts, social media posts, or videos. Now, these were just some generic pitch examples that I pulled up. And, it's short and simple. Hi, brand. I'm a travel content creator with X number of monthly readers and X social media followers. My audience is passionate about, whatever your niche is. And I think whatever product you're trying to get them to help you with would resonate with them. I'd love to feature your product in an upcoming blog post. Let's discuss how we can collaborate. Another simple one, Instagram post or reel. Hi, Brian. I'm a travel creator to focus on whatever. I've been using your product on my recent trips, and I think it would be perfect for a feature on my Instagram account. I'd love to create I would love to create an Instagram reel showcasing how your product helps me during my adventures. Looking forward to hearing from you. Another simple one. A little more detailed. Hi, Brian. I'm so and so, a travel content creator with audience size. I'd love to partner with whatever brand to feature your product across multiple platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, my blog. Campaign would include a dedicated YouTube video, Instagram reel, and blog posts, reaching a total audience of over whatever your audience site is. Please find my media kit attached. Looking forward, or you can have a link to it. Now, you can also use AI. Now, here's the beauty of AI, and I know everyone has all different things, but just put it all on your mind for a minute. Uh, in my account, I have my account specifically set up. I have my account specifically set up with all the information. So ChatGPT knows about my account. Whenever I ask it anything, it tailors that information to whatever I ask it. You can do the same thing. And so when you're setting up ChatGPT, you can tell it your tone, your audience. You can give it all the information about you, all the information about your products and your products that you sell and your audience. Then whenever you say, hey, I would like you to give me, I'm trying to pitch this brand. So like I'll give you an example, but I'm actually going to use, I had one that I set up, but I want to use a different one. I'm going to use I'm going to come back and use Perplexity, but for now I'm going to use Chat GPT. And I've been thinking of doing a Texas road trip on um, e vehicles. I've done it using gas vehicles, but what I'd like to do is to do one on EV. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say, hello, how are you today? You always need to be nice with the AI. And it's gonna come back and say, hey, Kerwin, I'm doing great. How did it know I'm Kerwin? Well, it knows I'm Kerwin because it's my account and it knows everything about me. So I'll just say, hey, how about you? I am well. Anything exciting going on today? Not too much. It's really hot here in Houston. And you see, you just have a little preamble. You don't have to do this, but I'm just trying to get an idea of how it says. So it says Houston heat can be brutal, especially around this time of the year. Hopefully you're staying cool indoors. Do you have any fun travel projects you're working on at the moment? I'll go, why, yes. And let's see if it's going to come back and say something awesome. What are you working on? Anything cool? Anything I can help with? So it's just like you're talking to a person. So now I'm going to say, well, um, I've I visited a number of cities in Texas that have European names. I used a gas car. I'd like to do a pitch to an EV manufacturer to explore these cities using an electric car. Can you help me come up with a pitch? Now, it's going to go, it knows my account, it knows my people, and now it's writing the pitch for me in second. And how cool is that? And you can change this. If you don't like it, you can say, hey, I don't like it, redo it. And it's going through. And if it's like, I mean, of course, I could have given it a lot more information. It's saying, hey, so let's just look at it a little bit. Hey, manufacturer team. So I'd say I would go to LinkedIn and I'd find out who it is that I want to use. And if I don't know who the EV manufacturers, I can say, hey, can you tell me the EV manufacturers, ERRERS, that would be interested in this pitch? And it'll probably come back and give me a list of people. So it tells you Tesla, Rivian, Ford, Lucid actually makes really nice cars. Chevrolet. And you can go down and now you're doing the research. Tells you the Volkswagen ID4, the Polestar, the Nissan Leaf, BMW. Um, it runs the gamut. And so this is where you see the power of AI. You're gonna go in, and so I'm continuing some more, and it says, so my name is Kerwin. I'm a travel expert and with a passion to exploring hidden gems, including unique towns and destinations. Recently embarked on a journey across Texas to visit a number of cities with European names, capturing the rich history and culture they bring to the Lone Star State. While I completed this trip using a traditional gas vehicle, I envision it more sustainable, eco-friendly way to travel. That's why I'm reaching out to you. I'd love to collaborate with whatever they say. I don't like Tesla, so we can say Kia to embark on a similar journey, this time with one of your electric vehicles. Together, we can showcase how your EV not only performs, and instead of saying just electric vehicles, I could actually go now find out which electric vehicle I want and include that information in here. Why does it matter? Texas offers a variety of terrain, climates, blah, 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 blah. Exploring cities like Paris and Florence, and I've been to Paris, Dublin, and Florence, all located within your Texas. In your EV would highlight your vehicle's capabilities while celebrating local and cultural connections to Europe. The road trip would attract interest from eco-conscious travelers, road trip enthusiasts, and those intrigued by the fusion of local. Don't steal my pitch. So what's in it for you? Brand visibility, targeted audience reach, real-world performance showcase. One of the things that EV Issues has is there are not many places to charge EVs in Texas. Unless you have a Tesla, you're pretty much hosed. And so the challenge with this particular thing is the cars normally have a thing that tells you where the chargers are. And so, I would show, and I've done this before here in Houston, I'd showcase where the chargers are, how long it's going to take to get to the thing. I'd have a little range anxiety. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, but I just want to share with you because we're talking about pitches, content creation and deliverables. And you can do whatever you want here, comprehensive blog posts or videos or itineraries, regular social media updates, option to create, whatever you want to stick in here. And your conclusion, by teaming up with Kia or Rivian, we can inspire a new wave of sustainable road trips in Texas while celebrating the state's cultural diversity. I would love the opportunity to discuss this collaboration further and how we can create a unique, impactful campaign together. Best me. And of course, now I have all my choices. So let's say I wanted to do, they didn't include Kia, but I could. But let's say I wanted to do Rivian. Or, okay, so I could say, how about Kia? And it's going to come back and it's going to tell me, oh yeah, Kia would definitely be a great option to consider. And then it's going to go through and tell me, why Kia would be good, the different types of Kia. I can even say, can you list all the Rivian and KIA models and compare them side by side in a spread? And you don't have to worry about the spelling. The AI will figure it out unless the spelling actually spells something that you don't really want to talk about. So now it's gonna do an analysis and it's gonna create a spreadsheet, which it did. And so it tells me there's Rivian, the RIT, and tells you what the truck is. And then it tells you the two Kia, the EV6. And then EV tells me what the range is. And so when I look at this, I'm gonna be like, ooh, I like the Rivian because look at the range of the Rivian is 314 and 321. The Kia is a little short. The Nino wouldn't be good because it's only 239. And so you get a good idea of what to use. Tells you the horsepower. It's awesome. It also tells the starting price of the cars because eventually that's what you want to do. You want to sell these cars for the manufacturer, right? But you want to see them in real life. And Texas is really tough. The temperatures are high. The car is going to be running for long times without getting charged. And so you're going to need air conditioning in the car. Plus, there'll be range anxiety because you don't know where the next charger is. And you want to also make sure the data is accurate. So if it says, hey, the next charger is within 100 miles and you don't drive 120 miles and you don't see it, it's not going to work. In Texas, too, there are these little roads and you drive on them for miles and there's nothing but you and the car and the element. And so it's a good test for things like that. So I'm just giving you ideas of how you could use ChatGPT or any other kind of um, AI to help you. So I'm going to do one more. You can tell I get too excited about this. So there is an AI called Perplexity. Perplexity is actually quite cool. And I haven't been here in a little while, so that's why it's been a little weird. But I do have a Perplexity account. I pay for ChatGPT, but I don't pay for Perplexity, at least not yet. I'm going to ask it the same question. I visited them the exact same. I'm not even changing anything. I don't see what it's gonna come up with. So Perplexity is a little different. What it does, it shows you where it's getting the information that you're asking for. Where is it coming from? And so it gives me an answer. Your idea to pitch an EV manufacturer for a car tour of Texas with European names is intriguing and timely. Here's a compelling pitch to help you present your concept. And so it's giving me slightly different pitch, but this is even good. It's going in. The other one just gave me some example, but this is actually planning a route for me, saying, hey, Paris, Dublin, Athens, Florence, Edinburgh, Naples, and I've actually been to all these. Key selling points, expanding market, infrastructure support. It says Texas DOT is implementing a comprehensive EV charging plan with stations every 50 miles along interstates. Now, when you go to these smaller towns, there are no interstates. I-10 is really far away. Um, and some of them are in Dublin is actually the nicest one. Paris is okay, but Dublin is really, really nice. There's a Dr. Pepper thing in Dublin. The library is amazing. The lady who was there was really, really nice to me. But this is deep Texas, right? And so really small towns, nothing much going on. Paris actually have an Eiffel Tower, and guess what? At the top of the Eiffel Tower is a big cowboy hat. I'd have to show you a video of that. But it's just going through and giving you ideas of It says you can potential partnership. You can collaborate with TechStart is what it's called to highlight the new charging station. Partner with local tourism boards to be featured in the cities. Engage with Texas-based tech companies for additional sponsorship. So they're giving you, a little more idea of what you could do. So this just tells you, the different stuff. Now there's Google Gemini. You could also do it Google Gemini, but I'm going to do a whole session about EV. Well, not EV, about using AI, and that's going to be a workshop that's coming up pretty soon. So then, we'll be able to go through a lot more. And since it's a workshop, we could, you get to do, it's a workshop, so you actually get to do some work. All right. I'm so excited I got sidetracked with AI. So follow up. If you don't receive a reply from follow up politely after a week or two. Now, people get busy. And sometimes it's not that they don't want to respond to you, it's just that they're just busy. Um, One of the things that's weird is we kind of get full of ourselves when we work. Uh, and oftentimes we forget to take care of customers. You get a reply, you get an inquiry, you don't reply. Um, Because obviously, you've gotten it, it's in your mailbox. Maybe it's gotten a junk. I was trying to pitch this news magazine, um, and I've written for them before, and I pitched them again, and I said, hey, can you tell me what are you looking for these days? And I used to accepting pitches. It took like 3 months for them to reply. When I got the reply back, I go, oh, okay, thank you. Um, all right. So, best practice for sponsored content, be authentic. Excuse me, only partner with brands that match your values and your audience's interest. Your readers will quickly spot content that feels forced or doesn't align with your usual content. I then added my newsletter, which is one way of making money. And the guy replied, I don't know what this ad has to do with aviation. And so I responded back to him and explained what it does, and he never replied. But people are going to do that, right? Because sometimes they don't see the forest for the trees. Be transparent. Always disclose that the content is sponsored. There's a legal requirement in most regions. Example, the FTC in the US requires clear disclosure. Use hashtag like sponsored or hashtag sponsored or hashtag ad to simply state this post is sponsored by a brand. I think I showed you an example there where Jen did that. Create high quality content. Sponsored content should be just as high quality as your regular content. Don't make it overly promotional. Focus on storytelling, experience, and how the product fits into your travel life. So tell a story. And when you tell the story, you weave the content into the story. So like I went to San Sebastian and I was talking about taking the trains and I was on SNCF. So if I had a sponsorship with the SNCF, I could say, hey, now I'm taking the SNCF from San Sebastian to Paris. And this content is brought to you by SNCF or something like that. It wasn't sponsored. I just paid for it myself. And so because again, like I said, I decided the night before that I was going to Paris the next morning. And so I can't go, hey, SNCF, do you want to sponsor me? I'm going to take your train tomorrow to Paris. It doesn't work that way. So I just went and did my own thing. Don't overdo the sponsored content. Your audience follows you for authentic content, so balance the sponsored posts with organic ones. Makes sense, right? Travel blog, an example, travel blog authentically integrates a sponsored suitcase into a blog post about how to pack for a month-long trip. So that's something that you could do if you need to. All right, let's talk about the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission in the United States. Your country may have something similar. And I have a link here to the PDF that explains all the thing. But guess what? You can easily just figure out, I just summarize it here. The disclosure pretty much must be clear. You got to say sponsored by or paid partnership with whatever brand or ad. Placement. Disclosure should be placed at the beginning of the post or video before the audience has to click read more or scroll down. Social media hashtags. Use hashtags like ad, sponsored, SP, thanks, whatever brand. In videos, the disclosure should be spoken out aloud or displayed on screen at the beginning and throughout the video. So you figure out what works for your audience and how you're going to say it so it makes sense. More about guidelines, best practices for disclosure and sponsorship. On Instagram, you use paid partnerships, and you'll see this from time to time. People just put pound ad, like my friend who just did the video on Grab. She did the pound ad, the pound hashtag 80. Another person did, she got a sponsorship for it's not Depends, it's one of these kind of product like Depends. She's older, so she's saying, hey, when I travel, I use this because it helps me to keep dry. And so she included that in there. She said, hey, this is sponsored by whatever the brand name is. In YouTube, include the disclosure in the video title or description and state it verbally in the video itself. Blog posts, we talked about this post is sponsored by, is what you would do. Why disclosure matters? It's not just about legal compliance and build trust in your audience, because your audience may see you do, they're accustomed to ads. They see ads everywhere. It's on TV, it's in social media, ads are everywhere. And the transparency ensures your followers know you're being compensated, which helps maintain credibility. Because you're not charging them for the content, so they do expect you to make money somehow. Key metrics, when you do sponsored content, make sure you have a way either for your brand that you're doing to track what you're doing, or you track what you're doing and give to the brand. So if it's a Instagram post or something, like Instagram will give you all the statistics. You need to share those with the brand. If it's a blog post, your Google Analytics or whatever you're using to track your analytics, you can use that to figure out how is the post doing. If it's an email, you can get click-through. You get how many people you sent it to, how many people opened it, how many people clicked through it, and what did they click on. If you're getting comments, you can get people come back and give you comments and say, hey, if you ask people, well, have you been to San Sebastian? And you come back and people say, yes, I've been, no, I haven't been. You can do a little poll or something like that. You can do conversions. And so if you're looking for people who want to buy things, then you can say, well, these many people clicked and bought, because sometimes you can see who bought. And if you're sending them to if it's an affiliate and you're sending them to the link on somebody else's website, you can say, well, okay, the affiliate link showed that I sold 10, and this is how many people clicked on it or something like that. So just get reports so people know what they're doing. The reason why you do this is the person that you're working with in the brand, they need to account to their bosses for how this is going. And this is how they're going to account for it. And if it does well, then the next time, they will be more than happy to hire you again. Ask the brand for feedback, because sometimes you don't have all the information, and to say you can see how it did. And the idea is you want to build a long-term relationship so you can work with this brand again in the future. And so if they have something else coming up, they'll go, hey, Kerwin worked with me on this particular project. Let me go see what he's up to these days. So try to create a partner. An example, create a partners with an airline to promote a flight deal. After the campaign, they share engagement and the conversion data with the airline to evaluate the success and discuss future collaborations. Example of some sponsored blog posts. Top 10 must-have gadgets for digital nomads featuring a sponsored gadget. How I incorporated sponsorship. The product flow naturally. How I incorporate sponsorship. The product flows naturally within the blog post content, and you got to make sure you have your disclosure in there. So let's look at a blog post example. A travel blogger writes about top 10 must-have gadgets for digital nomads featuring a sponsored travel gadget. The blog post includes a detailed review, photos of the product and use, and a link to the brand website. Just to give an example of how you can set these up. How I incorporated the sponsorship, the post flows naturally with the blogger's usual content, and includes an honest review of the product. The post clearly states this post is sponsored by a brand, but all opinions are my own, which is typically what you do. So here's some action steps to get started with sponsored content. Identify brands that match your niche. Make a list of potential sponsors and build your media kit. I showed you how to do that. Highlight your audience reach, engagement, and past collaborations. Now, I sigh because you're going to do a lot of pitches. you get a lot of rejections. Although you might just be lucky enough and get an immediate acceptance. Pretty sure that when I do my EV pitch, I'm not going to get immediate, oh yes, let's do it. Or maybe I will, who knows? Just depends on the brand that I choose, right? But and you may want to do multiple brands and see which one comes back. And then you figure, okay, great, this one is paying this much, or the opportunity with this one is better. Or I really like the Rivian better than I like the Kia. But then Kia starts with K, and my name is Kerwin. So, Kerwin and Kia sounds really good. Um, but Kerwin and Rivian, or maybe I can do both. Maybe I can do Rivian and then go do Kia and compare them. But anyway, but it looks like it might be Rivian because Rivian has a longer range. And here in Texas, you need the longer range because some of these roads, like I tell you, it's you and the elements, and the hotels are few and far between. Um, so start your pitching, reach out to the brands or use sponsored platforms like For and Isaiah. I cannot stress how good LinkedIn is as a platform to find these brands that are out there. You want to deliver high quality sponsored content and focus on creating authentic and valuable content for audience and the brand. So let's recap. We talk about what's the sponsored content, why sponsored content works for travel creators, types of sponsored content, how to find sponsors, how to pitch to brands for sponsored content, and best practices for sponsored content. Sponsored content disclosure guidelines, measuring success with sponsored content, example of sponsored blog posts, an action step to get started with sponsored content. Now, before I go through all the sponsored stuff, I wanted to go back to, let's go over to Instagram. And I wanted to show you, and this should play okay. I think I gave you enough examples. So let's look for Adventurous Kate, because she just did a thing today. Let's go to Reels. Might be, can't find the one she did. I was gonna give you, oh, here it is, a grab app. So let me turn this on.
A lot of taxi drivers, they wouldn't use the meter. We would end up haggling, and I always ended up paying much more than I should have. But those days are over for travelers in Southeast Asia, thanks to the Grab app. Grab is a rideshare app that works in more than 700 cities and towns in Southeast Asia, including some of my favorite places like Hanoi, Vietnam, Kampot, Cambodia, and Krabi, Thailand, as well as backpacker favorites like Bali and Bangkok. As someone who teaches women to stay safe while traveling, I love that Grab does facial authentication of their drivers every day to make sure you're getting the right person. You can share your rides so friends and family can track your location. Grab even has a translation function that lets you and your driver communicate seamlessly. And they have dedicated waiting booths to pick you up at major airports. To me, that's the perfect stress-free way to arrive in a new country. First time I landed in Bali, I had no choice but to take a motorbike taxi in the rain while wearing a giant backpack. It was not ideal. But Grab gives you a variety of transportation options, from cars to motorbikes to minibuses, so that won't happen to you. Grab also offers food delivery, which can be nice if you're like me and you get overstimulated while traveling and just need some alone time to recover. Be sure to download Grab for your next trip to Southeast Asia. You can find it in the App Store and on Google Play. First time I went to...
Okay, so that gives you an example of an ad that she did. And notice that it had said ad. Let me go back here. Because up here it says AD.
I went to Southeast Asia.
So you know that it's
Scammed by
gonna be
a
an
lot
ad.
of taxi
And
drivers. They
let's
wouldn't
see
use the
if
meter. We would end up haggling, and I always ended up paying.
There's the
more than I
hashtags
should
in
have.
here.
But those things are over for travelers in
But she put
Southeast
ad
Asia.
right there. So
Thanks to the Grab app.
you know it's an ad, right?
Right.
So let's just continue then. So are you ready to monetize? Subscribe for more tips, subscribe to my channel, turn on notification and for content tips. One of the things that I'd really love for you to do is to tell me about what you're doing, what's working, what's not working. Sponsored content doesn't work for everyone. Because it just doesn't work for everyone. So you can decide which partners you want to work with, if this is one, but because I talked about email marketing, um, affiliate marketing, um, sponsored content is one way to make money, but there's so many different ways to do it. We're going to talk about YouTube monetization in a little bit, and so there's so many different ways. So leave a comment below. Let me know what's going on. Engage with the community. Ask each other's question. I'm probably going to have a Facebook Live at some point to talk about some of this. And thank you for your time. And follow me for more insights on travel blogging and monetization. Use your like, subscribe, notify, share with a friend. That kind of stuff would be appreciated. So this is Kerwin with Travel Blogger 101. And that's all I got for sponsored content. And I always forget to stop sharing and come back to here. And so I got a little moon man. This actually came from it's all whiting up, but it came from the city of Houston. So I'm trying to add different things to my little travel thing back there. Eventually I'll add planes or something. It's a little boring now. But anyway, thank you guys so much, and we'll talk soon. Bye.